Hey, this is John. Welcome to the Breakthrough Creative, where we talk about the business of art and the art of business. Today's guest is Casey Page, and Casey is a fine artist and a woodworker and a muralist and just an all-around fearless artist. And I'm really looking forward to you hearing his story about how he got to where he got to and how he does what he does. So without further ado, here is my interview with Casey Page. It's good to meet you, dude.
You too. I'm so glad we were able to get together finally.
Me too. So tell me, man, what do you do?
Art, as far as art goes, that's one thing that very early on in life, it just kind of, I knew that there was something there. Between my parents and my teachers, they could all tell that it was just a little bit more advanced than the average kid. So I kind of dove into it and see where it would go, and here we are.
So for the audience who doesn't know you, Casey came into my frame through, I can't remember if it was Facebook or Instagram. I think it might have been
Yeah,
Facebook. And he's just painting, and he's doing all these paintings and painting and painting. And then I noticed these paintings had these kind of like awesome box frames around them. And he shows some footage or video or photo or something that he makes these box frames for the paintings too. And so that's awesome. And then it was cool how I saw him marketing. He said, "Hey, this stuff's for sale, and I'm taking commissions up until whatever it was, October, November
yeah,
for Christmas orders." And then the next thing I know, I see that he's got photos at a bar that he's redoing the countertop at this bar. So he's a woodworker, and he's going out to buy all this awesome wood, like great cuts out of great big thick trees, and still leaving the shape of the wood that they cut the slice out of the tree from. And then he's outside and he's painting a mural and he's spray painting it. He's got a can and he's got great control with this spray paint. And I mean, it's not like some slapdash kind of thing. He's doing this for a barbecue restaurant, and it's really nice. And I thought he was done. And then the next day I see he's out there working again, and whatever, it was like 200 degrees out, and he's
yes,
spray painting, and he's finishing up the logo. So he can do the lettering, he can do the words, he can do the mediums, he can do beautiful portraits. And then if I go back, he's got photography that he's working on, and there's like some woman who's kind of floating on her back through the air at this convenience store, and
right.
just fascinating. So you're working, I'm assuming that stuff was digital.
Yeah,
So he's working digital, all this and that. And then we've had talks here and there, and I see him painting a mural, and I'm like, dude, that looks great. And we started talking about airbrushing, and I said, yeah, I'm an airbrusher from way back. And the next line that he sends to me is, teach me.
teach me. Yes.
So I just love that attitude. Like you run after the stuff, you jump in. I'm
Yes.
sure head
Oh, right.
first, feet first, whatever. Probably knock your head and scrape yourself at times, but
Oh, yeah.
you go and you do it. Where did that come from? Like, it's
Drive.
infectious. I see it. I see it through your posts. It's
Right.
just a drive you got.
I don't. I don't know if it's. I mean, of course, my parents were hard workers. Of course, I'm my mother's only child, and I just always watching my dad and watching my mom do their thing growing up. It's
What did
just
they
kind of.
do?
My mom was a nurse, and my dad, of course, naturally, as a nurse, you're always doing for others and everything. But her thing was I never heard her complain about anything. She just worked long hours, come home, and when she was at home, we were at home. It's home life. I didn't hear any fuss about anything, and I knew she had a hard job. I knew. And my dad, he was a painter, and I think that's part of why I have the drive that I have, because there's a comfort in it. I feel like in a way, I'm doing my father's work, you know. So
What kind of painter was he?
he did like industrial scale jobs, painting
Okay.
schools and factories,
Yeah.
that type of painting. But when during the home life, he would draw and we would sketch out things, and like one of his favorite doodles is it's a hunting dog wearing Chuck Taylors standing on top of his doghouse, and I just remember that stuff with my dad, and yeah, I think I get my artistic skill from him because to this day he paints landscape type paintings, and he loves architectural paintings, so buildings and stuff like that. So naturally, I think it's just the comfort that I find in it when I'm painting, when I'm creating, because we always build things, built my tree houses, basketball goals. We built everything that we had. So just naturally, it's comfortable. It's comforting going out and making things and creating and doing all that stuff.
So it seems like your mom and dad, like you grew up in a pretty encouraging environment in general, but around
Oh, yeah.
art.
It's very encouraging. And to this day, I mean, I was at my parents' house yesterday, and my mom is still just lecturing me. She loves to do that, letting me know, hey, here's what you have to do. Here's what you should be doing, and all this. So I love it. I always tell her I only go to their house to get beat up. So my
Do
mom
you
loves to yell at me
do you think that's what
about.
makes you teachable?
Well, yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt. I mean, I'm also the type of person, I'm so willing to learn. I want to learn. So in any situation, for the most part, I'm listening at all times. I'm taking it all in. That's just what I want to do. I would much rather sit back and let someone else, talk about their experience. Like, it's crazy for me to just sit here and talk to you about what it is that I do. It's just, I don't know. At these moments, I sum it up, and then I realize I need to do more.
Hmm.
I should be doing even more. So,
Very cool. So you have this encouraging environment. You've got a rock solid, it sounds like, relationship with your parents. You've got encouragement throughout school.
mhm.
When did becoming an artist professionally hit you? When was that? What put that
uh,
together?
it's of course I've said it a few times, but it remains the same. It's after I had my son. See, growing up, I always knew that I was good at art. It was something that I could do. Um, I always felt, not that I'm better than anyone else, but I could see from my own art that it was something different from what my friends were doing. No one else was doing as intricate of art as I was doing. But on the other hand, art to me was kind of boring to me, as far as I just never wanted to sit down. I never wanted to do it. So art got put on the back burner for many, many years. Even through my freshman year of college, when I first moved out of my parents' house, and I have a roommate, that entire group of friends, they didn't even know that I drew or that I did any of this stuff. And to this day, they're still just baffled over what it is that I'm doing. But uh, I knew that after I had my son, I wanted him to
Let
know.
me pause
I
one
wanted to
second.
raise. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
just want to ask you, so you're in your freshman year of college, so art wasn't your major.
No, not at all. I
What were you
would.
studying?
That's a whole nother beast, and I may get some backlash for it. But I would never personally tell an artist to go to art school. As an artist, I would never. I would never think art school was the way, because if you have a creative spirit, you are an artist. I feel like you're only going to see the death of an artist in art school, because at the end of the day, I feel like they are only teaching you the theories that other people have, trial and error their way through and created their own history from. Uh, any artist that you study, their style, they created themselves through trial and error. Um, and so I would never tell an artist to go to art school. I feel like they're only going to show you what someone else has done. But I do believe, because, the old phrase, the starving artist, and that whole stigma behind an artist, there's a separation of artist and business person, or artist and entrepreneur. That separation, there doesn't need to be that separation. If I feel like it should be said that if you are an artist, you are a business person, you are an entrepreneur, you are a business owner. So I would only say to anyone who wanted to be an artist, if that's what you want to do, you need to know how to sell it. You need to know how to make a living. So just the way I believe, I went for business. I went to college to learn how to be an entrepreneur. I loved entrepreneurship, and I think that's part of it as well. As far as my drive is, I know that, yes, I'm an artist to the world, but when I'm at home, or when I'm in the studio, or when I'm in the office, I'm an entrepreneur, and this is how this has to be done in order to continue what I love to do.
Where did that philosophy come from? You're 19, right? And you're going into college. Where did that, how did you arrive at that conclusion?
Well, I see, of course, I always got called like an emo kid. We were listening to alternative rock music and just, doing things, we partying every day, and just sad situation. But, but I see like the creative kids and all these like wonderfully talented people just kind of wasting away. And it's like, you finally get your head out of that MTV state, and it's like, it's not a party if it's happening every day type of deal, and it comes to a point where, okay, if I want to always be the cool kid, if I always want to live this lifestyle while providing for myself, I have to I got to eat, you got to be able to do this. How can I do this? How can I maintain this while doing it in a productive manner and not just going downhill on a downward slope? And the only way to do that is you kind of give it. I don't know if you've ever seen SLC Punk. You never seen that movie? It's from the early 90s. And I love one of the lines at the very end of that movie where he says, his son is looking at his dad, and he's like, "Dad, you sold out." And he's like, "Son, I didn't sell out. I bought in." And it's just kind of that was a click for me where it's like, I got to kind of give up some of this to maintain the cool. I knew that I didn't want to work for a boss that was just underqualified and had no business in the seat that he was in. So it's like, I'm going to absolutely work my tail off to not have to work at all. And in high school, I had the freshman art class, and I kind of struggled through that with my teacher. And of course, I love her to death today. She's a great woman. But I just struggled with the fact is, how do you put a grade on someone's creativity? And we had that argument while we were there, because I would things, the assignments, projects she wanted done, and to me it was just amazing. I was always pushing myself, and I was getting to, I felt like I was growing. As she asked, this is the assignment. It's not something that naturally I would do, but whenever I got to the end of it, I felt like I grew a little bit. I pushed myself to do it, and I didn't necessarily get the grade that I felt like I deserved, and so it made me hate art class. And of course, I definitely don't hate her. She helped me through so much. She knew that I was a little rebel, and like even when I graduated, she bought me a Michelangelo's book, and
wow.
Yeah, she knew. She saw something there. She knew. But
so she was an important part of your journey.
Oh yeah, she definitely was, because I had never touched paint, and she let me into a study hall. It was like an AP art class, but I wasn't in the class, but I got to use it as my study hall my senior year. So as study hall, I just listen to her every day. Listen to her all day. So like one day I just grabbed some paintbrushes. I painted a painting for the first time ever, and she was just amazed. I still have the painting. I still have the painting in my garage. I'll never get rid of that one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
she was understanding. She was what a good teacher should be. Yeah, we disagree, but she understood that, you know, everybody has to grow in their own way. And even though she didn't want me in her art class, she didn't give up on me, you know.
That's awesome. So, so you've gotten into college. It sounds like you had your eyes set on art as your business. You've taken business classes. So then catch me up from there. What did you graduate and then?
Yeah, definitely. I partied my way through college, so there was no graduation for me. I was over it.
Yeah.
But I felt like, as far as business was concerned, after I learned that there's no such thing as bad publicity, it's like, well, then there's no such thing as failure. It's like, no matter what, that's what that equaled to me. So it's like, it's time to dive in. I don't need to go to college to do this. And again, in high school, I took an entrepreneurship class, and the teacher for that class, again, he was great at his job. And from the beginning, he taught me so much. I feel like those basics, especially from that freshman year of high school art class, those basics, I still use those in every single aspects of the art that I do today. Just those couple of things that I learned from that is what I use still. And same way with that entrepreneurship. We learned to write the business plans. Somewhere along the lines, he led me to believe that, hey, I can make $1 doing the paintings, doing my art, and just, those two things together just kind of blossomed from there. But yeah, after college, I still wasn't in college. It was just the experience. College was not the hometown that I grew up in. I was on this just journey of, wow, this is amazing. There's a whole new world out here, and I was taking it all in. So art was not on my mind at all. After that, it wasn't until I had my son that, like I was saying earlier, I wanted to raise my son, and I wanted him to know that you can do anything that you want to do, but I want to actually mean that. And it's like, I can't tell my son that he can do anything he wants to do, turn what he loves into a living, if I'm not doing that myself, And was in the factory circuit, just miserable at that. It's like, yeah, I'm making great money, but at what cost? Because my body is killing me. I'm miserable. All I want to do is sleep, and it's
a slow death, right? It's kind of a slow death.
It is brutal. It's so brutal. And people get caught up into that for 30, 40 years working like that, because even though you're killing yourself, the paycheck is it's enough to get you by. So it's good money, but I just knew I couldn't take that years of that emotionally. It's like, I got to jump on what I feel like I was really put here to do and really work hard at it. So I wanted my son to see that. I would rather struggle, for something that I absolutely love, and him see the hard work going into that. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And I don't have any problem with anybody doing any kind of job, but definitely. I know that for me to work at something other than a creative, artistic job would have been a slow death for me. Right. I would have been miserable, and I think I would have been a difficult person to be around.
Right. That was another thing. I would come home, and it's like, just tired, body's killing me, and I'm taking that out on my family. I cannot live like that at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah. So Hey, what were you had mentioned that the basics that you use that you learned from that entrepreneurial class
Yeah.
professor? What you kind of mentioned one, the business plan, but what else would you say are the basics that you use?
The basics of just business and marketing and
Yeah,
things
like
like that.
what did you learn from that class that you still implement today?
Oh, yeah. It was, I don't even necessarily remember individual lessons, but just knowing the order of things, just if if you want to do that, you have to have a plan. You always got to have an end game and know where you're going, because if you don't, with no plan, you can be the most talented individual on the planet. If you don't have a plan, you're just kind of willy nilly. So through the business plans and learning how to hone things in and find a direction, then you can pretty much do anything with anything you got. Same way with painting. If the colors are correct, you can literally spit the paint on the canvas. People don't realize that. It's palette knife, paintbrush, or whatever. As long as the colors are correct, you can do it blindfold.
So how did you apply that then to your business to having yeah, I'm assuming that you had an end game for the work that you started to do because you knew you needed to sell it.
Yes.
So how did that work out for you? And by the way, when did you start? So you're in the factory, you had your son, and when did that all change? Like when did you start working for yourself?
Fully working for me, it was right before. It was right before COVID hit, actually, and I finally take the leap into I'm going to do this full time. Uh, it's all or nothing, and then COVID is just COVID hits, and it's just wow, this is really going to test me. So, but luckily, I have been coming through that. But I was stressed out, and of course, with my mind, just you understand, I'm constantly thinking, creating. When I was standing in the factory on that, on the assembly line, not being able to do anything, my mind is just going, all
Sure.
these creative things, and it's just again like art school to me. It was death to creativity. Yeah.
So then all the stuff I've been seeing you put up for the last year that is like quality and
Yeah.
prolific, like you're working another job while you're doing that stuff.
Oh, I've had a full time job the entire time.
Wow.
It wasn't until recent that I just really dove
Yeah.
in and decided to do it on my own. I needed to invest my time fully in what I was doing because I was getting more and more busy. And it's like, I can keep putting my art on the back burner because I have to go work 50 hours this week, or I can throw that out the window, bring the art to the forefront, and make up for the 50 hours that I had to work. So it's like I had to just make that decision. But yeah, I was working the whole time. I'd work 40, 50 hours a week on top of putting out all this artwork. I knew that I wanted to do that full time. I wanted to get out. So it was time to fight for it.
Yeah,
Wore
when
out.
did it start to feel manageable to you? When did you think because I mean obviously you've got a family, you've got
Yeah.
bills to pay. At what point did you go, okay, this is happening, like I can do this?
The job started coming in, and of course, I don't know if you've heard about or have studied up on the Cardinal House situation, the studio name, but the jobs are coming, and people more and more they just love what I do, and it's like the money that I was making just from my art. It was the same, or if not more, as what I could make in a week. Working for the factory, it's like okay, I could be greedy and keep this job and do this and just be miserable,
Yeah.
or just give up the job and dive into this. Give it everything you got, and that's what I had to do. And also with the job, it's like I'm not getting any younger. I'm only getting older. And as I get older, I get stuck in my ways and stuck in my own thoughts, you know. But the people around me were getting younger, so it's just like these kids, I can't deal with it. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna be a mean old man, I guess.
I don't know about that, but so then you're working for yourself, you're doing these paintings, you're building
Yeah,
these frames, and I mean your paintings are all over the place, right? It's like
I
you've
do.
got like impasto kind of stuff you're doing
All over.
you're painting stuff. I love that one piece that you have on the back of like an old cello that you
Yes, yes, I
did.
love that. Love
I
that
mean, that's
painting.
gorgeous. And then you get the woodworking aspect of it too. Yeah, like how
Okay.
do you decide where to go and what to do?
Okay, and I'm back to that whole direction and having a plan thing. I don't know if you know, like Thomas Kincaid
Yeah.
and his whole angle on things. I had this idea that I kind of wanted to be the next Thomas Kincaid as far as having, you know, a whole line of products, affordable product, keeping things. I'm sure it'd be great to be just a multimillionaire, but I don't want to have a painting that's for sale for $50,000. I don't feel like that's my crowd, you know. I want the regular guy because what I'm painting, the subjects of what I paint, I want just regular old people to be able to afford my artwork and have that. So uh, I'm creating a brand, and that's Cardinal House Studios, and through that brand, I want to be able to offer, you know, decorative arts, fine arts, furniture, all these things, all through one thought or one idea. And as I do that, I need to not only create the stock of what I want, but I want to be at the forefront of all those different things. And it's just like the restaurants and all this. I want Cardinal House Studios to have a branch of design, interior design as well. So I want to be able to put all those things toward that brand name. And if that makes any sense,
Yeah,
it's still coming
totally.
together.
No, that
It's
makes
still all
sense.
coming together. I'm not trying to be Walt Disney, but I guess I'm trying to be Walt Disney. I don't know.
Hey, you can't have a big outcome if you don't dream big, right? I mean, you
Man,
got to have a big
hey,
plan for it.
shoot for the stars. You might land on a cloud, you know.
So how do you decide what to work on? Like, is it mostly client and commission driven right now, or are you just kind of creating and then selling?
Well, for the moment, and again, I don't know if it's just because I don't have that college art student mind frame. I have had way better luck selling for myself than I do through galleries or any of that stuff with the middleman. I uh, I sell my own artwork a whole lot quicker than any of them have been able to. And that's not to say anything bad mouthing them because they work hard, but you know, they don't have complete time to focus on me like I do. I can focus on each individual painting, whereas they have to focus on all the products in their stores and galleries. So, uh,
So you've done some of the gallery world. You've shown in galleries a bit.
I have, let's see, one, I haven't shown in a gallery that is strictly a gallery. Most of the galleries that I've been in is like gallery slash, you know, gift shop type of deal.
Do you mind if I ask you like how did that work? Like if you had a painting in there for $500,
Yeah.
what would the split be?
For some places, if it's like a high traffic area, they may want 50-50. But if we're doing 50-50, uh, my deal is they have to actively be selling my paintings within a time frame. Okay. And if it doesn't sell within that time frame, then we're going to do, you know, 40-60 and within this time frame. And then this time frame, it keeps, you know, it gives everybody, it gives them incentive. It kind of lights the fire to, okay, if you want 50%, get it sold. So
How do they respond to that?
I hope so far it's been pretty good. I do not mind to give them 50%, but it's not going to sit for a year and through my own social media and me talking about the painting, you sell it and get to keep 50%. That's not how it works at
Right.
all.
Right.
Because I've gotten paintings back. I get them back into my possession, and I have them sold myself within a week. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they want 50%, sure, you can have 50%, but here's the terms.
So then how do you, it sounds like you're pretty, in the best sense of the word, you're an aggressive salesman with your work. How do you sell? Like what's been your best, like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll just leave it at that. How do you sell?
How do I sell? Uh, I don't like to brag. I don't like to boast. So with that, I want to put out the best product that I can possibly put out. So I say I sell, my work sells itself. When I post the picture online, I don't put a lot of words with it. Just say, hey, here you go, and hope for the best. And I mean, naturally, I just I don't know, man. I don't push anybody into it. You know, I don't
So
know.
you post the stuff and people kind of reach out to you then if you let them know it's for sale.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've developed a following that even though like my artwork is kind of all over the place, and I'm always experimenting with other things and going all different directions, but there are key aspects of my art that always remains the same. That it's rough around the edges. You know, my textures, my color palette is always the same. Uh, those things allow me to kind of funnel in an audience. So when I post artwork, people automatically just start messaging me and just they they want it. And like I'm not an artist that's afraid of a good barter. So
Yeah.
if you want my artwork and you don't have the funds to cover it, if we can barter for something of cash value, I don't care to do that. I feel like that's one of the world's oldest traditions as far as, why
I'm with
not?
you. Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, honestly, looking at your work, you've inspired me that I'm going to start working on some paintings, and I'm just going to put them up and say, "Hey, this is for
Yeah.
sale. DM me."
That's another thing. I feel like, I mean, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's the gallery sector and the stores and everything. People need to put more faith into this social media, this internet thing. Like it is the new brick and mortar. And I don't know if it's a prideful feeling that people get. They don't put themselves out there or represent themselves. It's like, it's why not, It's, and I've done it and it's worked. And I'm definitely not the most straight laced person you ever met, but me being rough around the edges, it's worked for me. It's because I'm telling my truth. I'm painting my truth. I'm creating my truth, and people see that, and they want to be a part of it. It's not until you start trying to force things that people aren't with it. People see through that. So I don't know. I don't see why more people don't go take to their own social medias and sell their own artwork. Now I know it's a matter of time, and people have their own lives and aren't able to do certain things. But if you want it, the time is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I one of the things that I believe in is if you want it, ask for it.
Yeah.
I've gone into meetings with clients and, because I do a lot of product design and digital illustration
Mm-hmm.
and I've gone in with clients and just to have a meeting with them, just kind of an introductory thing. And we get done with the meeting and they're happy and I'll say, so can I walk out with some projects today? How can I help you? If I didn't ask, they wouldn't have given me anything. And I usually walk out with a project. It's like, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You got to throw it out there. Definitely
Absolutely.
do.
Dude, I love that.
I feel like my wife tells me that I'm aggressive with people. I don't try to be. I mean, I'm a nice guy, but I'm not a pushy person. I wouldn't try to push anything on anybody, but I don't know. You just have to know me and just the way, I don't know, just old country
Why
boy.
does I don't get that she means like threatening aggressive. I
No, no,
mean,
no, no, not at
it's
all.
like
Not at
you're
all.
like, hey, this has got you all over it. This painting is for you, kind of a
Right,
thing,
right,
right?
right. Well, it's just whenever, especially when I type. When I type, man, it's you could take my words and just think that I was. You may think I'm angry when I'm speaking, but really I'm just laughing. But it's probably best that I start calling people on the phone a lot more and actually so they can hear my voice, because when I get to typing, just my sense of humor, like I grew up on Chevy Chase and those guys like that, so that's my sense of humor. But I'm aggressive because I'm excited. I'm aggressive because I'm ready to go. I want to create, and I want to be able to do that for people. I want them to be just as aggressive as I am about it. So
Well, and you are committed to your work. You feel strongly about your work. You're creating something. It's a part of you that you're selling to other people.
yeah,
And I would say that the relationships that you develop with these clients are, I mean, that's why people, I mean, as much as people like an image, if
hmm
they somehow form a relationship with the artist, it becomes even more valuable to them. It means
yes,
more because they get to know who you are. And it's like,
right,
man, look at this painting. This guy, Casey, painted this painting, and he's the coolest guy, and he's cracking me
yeah,
up. And and there's a story that goes with it. And stories are
right.
important.
Yes, they are, and that's through my art. I always want to maintain a storyline for sure. I want people to be able to follow my work around and stay with it for life and pass that on to their friends and their families and be able to do that. I would much rather you know me and have a piece of artwork than you buy it in the store having never seen me, met me, or know anything about where that painting came from. So that's
You come
another reason why I love
across, in your social media. This is the first time you and I are actually speaking and
it.
seeing each
Right,
other, but I feel like I've known you. Like if I had to write who Casey Page is before I met him,
right.
I think you came across so well as to who you are through your social
That's
media
good.
posts. I'm like, yeah, that's Casey. That's totally like if
That's
I saw you come around a corner, I would go,
right,
there. Oh, I haven't met him yet. That's Casey though. I know him.
right, right. That's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I definitely I don't want to put up a facade for anybody. I'm not going to get on Facebook and talk about what a terrible day I've had. We've all had bad days. I don't want to get on there and just complain. And sometimes I feel like I'm getting on Facebook and I'm only talking about the good things and this and that. But I really hope no one sees that and thinks that my life is perfect by any means, because it's not. I just don't want to project a bad day on anybody. I want to spread the love. So I stay out of Facebook. The politics, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm with you. I stay far away from that.
yes,
Yeah.
man. Uh, and I don't want to spread more of it. It's like,
Yeah.
I want you to see that there is another way to do things. So,
Yep. So let me ask you about, if I could, because this has just come up for me. There's a photo of your dad that you took,
hmm
and he's kind of it's a black and white. Maybe it was color when you took it though, and he's kind of on the side, like a 3/4 view, a
right,
little bit. And I think
right,
he's lit from above, and it's very dramatic, and he's being silly in it, but it's a
yeah,
really cool picture. And I almost felt like looking at that kind of sums up your relationship with your dad and what you think of your dad.
yeah. I mean, he's the one I look up to. I put him in that superhero light. So,
That's a really cool picture.
yeah.
Um,
I always felt like it was a superhero pose after I saw it. I don't know if you've seen the painting that I did of him. Of course, I took that photograph as I was taking the photograph for the painting reference, where he's standing in the woman's nightgown. He's got his shotgun with the American flag behind him. I don't know if you
I
saw
haven't
that one.
seen that.
You haven't
I
seen
gotta
that?
look for that one.
I did a video for that one, but It took me 3 months to talk him into that woman's night. But it was supposed to depict, like you hear a noise in the middle of the night and you grab the first stitch of clothing you find, throw it on, grab your gun, you're running out. It's like, what was that?
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the character just happened to be his wife's nightgown. So
yeah. Well, what's cool about that is like he's a protector. It's like, okay, I'm going to protect us right now.
Right.
That's cool. It's a good story. I like the story in the painting.
Well, I don't know. You ask me about any of my art, there's always a story. That I do have a little bit of trouble trying to find a level ground with. It's where a lot of times, and the reason why my work is all over the place or seems like it's all over the place, is I'm excited about when I'm painting things for other people. So I post it. I ask them, is it okay if I post your commission? So when I'm posting a lot of these paintings, I'd say 65, 75% of the paintings that I post, they're not necessarily my ideas. This is what other people have already ordered that was their idea. I'm just bringing that to fruition for them. So it's easy for anyone to say, well, your work's it's all over. You're not stuck to one specific thing. And that's only because I don't really say, this is a commission piece. I'll just post the image and then the viewer sees it. They don't know that, that was ordered by someone.
Well, and that's how I do it. I mean, you see my Instagram page. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because I kind of don't mind if people see the process and the ugliness of the process. I'm cool. I like seeing process. And then a lot of projects I can't show because they're not out on the shelves yet. I can't show that stuff. Right. So it's like, all right, let's put this in. So I think that's cool.
I don't know if you ever listen to Casey Neistat, but like he's like I love.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, of course, he said himself, like showing that end process thing, showing how things come together. Yeah. It's a constant reiteration to people that, there's work in this, and that kind of sets your value as an artist. And that goes into that whole, it's a new day, it's a whole new wave where people need to take social media a lot more serious. Like, I don't necessarily have the standing that a major art gallery has, but through my process, through that day-to-day post, through you learning me, it puts me right up there with some of the highest galleries in the country, with reputation-wise, because, I mean, they see it unfolding. They see what really is going into it versus going to a gallery and having the salesperson pitch to you,
Yeah. So, what's next for you? What's on the docket for the year? We're not really through COVID. I mean, as we're recording right now, it's just after the 4th of July, and a lot of states are open up, and a lot of them are starting to close up again. And what's next for you?
Well, we just found out last night that, of course, the masks are mandatory now, at least for Kentucky. I don't know for the rest of the country. So I'd say we're probably heading back into get in the house and lock the door situation here. So I don't know how that's going to go. But for me, for the rest of this year, finish people's commissions. If you have a commission, it is on the way. I promise you, it's coming.
How many commissions do you have? Is this for Christmas or is this for?
This is for Christmas, for the end of the year. For the rest of the year, man, I don't know. I'm working on so much stuff. You got to watch. You got to check out. You got to check back.
Awesome.
So much is going on.
So what if as we wrap up, what advice would you give to the artist who wants to make a living from their art?
If you want to make a living from your art, the best advice that I can give you is, yes, it is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. It's going to be work. It's going to be just like a job. It's going to be all those things. But if you're following your dream and it's what's you are here meant to do, it will never feel like any of those things. Now, if you like any parent knows, if you have a kid, you know this. It's that unconditional love. You know, you don't mind staying up all night. You don't mind having to wake up early for that. You know, for that love. So I work my tail off day in, day out. I don't sleep, none of that. But I love every single minute of it. I'm not hurting at all, you know. I love it. So yes, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take a lot. That's pretty much the advice that I have. I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to tell you how to do it. I just want you to know that it will take effort.
That's great advice, Casey. I concur. It's
Yes.
great advice. I believe in hard work. I don't believe in the muse. I think there's days where it just comes easily, and the days that it doesn't, you just got to work. You got to pull your boots up and go.
Work through it. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was Ernest. I think it's Ernest Hemingway who said, "If you don't know what to write about anything." It's those days where you have those blocks, you can't do it. You don't know what you're going to do. Well, it's time to do anything, so you get back on track. Because when you start to do anything, you get into the realm of what you don't want to do, your mind gets back to what it does want to do.
Absolutely. I just looked over here. Do you know Chuck Close, the artist who's a quadriplegic, and he does these huge, beautiful abstract portraits that are
just
not abstract.
Circles.
Yeah. His one of his quotes, let me find it here. Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work.
Oh, yes.
I love that. And this is a guy who's in a wheelchair, who's quadriplegic.
Right. Yes.
And he's one of the most prolific artists out there. And so cool. The work he does is beautiful. So
if you're waiting for inspiration, you're not gonna make it.
That's right. So where can people find you, Casey, if they're interested in getting in touch with you?
If of course my social media is Instagram. Instagram is all under Cardinal House Studios. If you just search Cardinal House Studios, you will find me. On Facebook, you search, Casey Page or Casey Paints, and I promise that last name is real. People don't think my last name is real because Page. And I'm painting. They think I made this last name up, but yeah, that's. I'll have a stage name later. I'll change it to Elvis if I ever do. Actually,
Elvis Page.
Yeah, Elvis Page. But yeah, social media is the best place to find me. My website is for the last couple of years is a 100% mess. It is never going to be available for anyone to see. Find me on Facebook. I don't know.
Well, hey man, thanks so much for being my guest today and for sharing yourself. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we got in touch. And I love that tiger behind you. You paint that?
Thanks, brother. Yeah. Painted that for my dad years ago.
That's awesome.
So, and it covers up my messy studio.
Well, teach me how to airbrush.
Teach me. I love that, Casey Page. We'll get together and do that. And so that was my interview with Casey Page. I really appreciate Casey's go get it attitude and how hard he works at his craft, and not just the craft of painting and carpentry and any other kind of visual art that he does, but also the craft of being a business person, working on selling and salesmanship and systems around selling his paintings. I particularly liked his attitude around, hey, if you want to show my work to sell it, like a gallery or something, you can have 50% of it, but as time goes on and it doesn't sell, then you're going to get less and less and less, especially if I am the one who's doing the marketing and the selling of it. So that was pretty cool. You're not going to get that at every gallery, so obviously it's up to you to work on that deal with somebody if that's the deal that you want, and being prepared to walk away if they're not going to give you that deal. But I thought that that was pretty inventive, and I really like that, and I may use that in the future myself. So, for the Breakthrough Creative, where we talk about the business of art and the art of business, I am John McDavitt. I'm so glad that you're here with us. Please feel free to reach out to me and let me know what you think of the show. Let me know if there are some guests that you'd really like to see on here, that you would like to hear interviewed. And let me know if you have any questions for yourself and your career, what you're doing, anything that you would like to hear about. I would like to know so that I can help to answer them for you. So until I see you next time, please get busy getting good at your craft and figuring out a way to make some money from it.